Welcome to another video review. I have for you a video comparison. I'm going to be comparing the Zowie FK, Zowie AM-FG, and the SteelSeries Sensei. So these are three of my favorite ambidextrous mice, and I feel as though currently in the market that these are going to be the three top contenders that you guys should be looking at if you're shopping for the next gaming mouse. So first off, we have the Zowie FK. Features the Avago ADNS 3090 optical sensor. Amazing sensor. That is one reason why I really like this mouse. It's not going to have any prediction, so it's really going to be good for FPS gaming or any kind of application or game where you need precision tracking. And on the FK, Zowie went with the full rubber body approach. So the whole body of the mouse is going to be rubberized. So the tops and the sides are going to be rubber or rubber coated. This rubber is a little bit different though. It's going to be a little bit more rugged than something you would feel on a Death Adder or like the rubber on the Sensei here. Like this, the Sensei rubber is actually really nice. I feel that it's a lot softer and it feels better in the hand rather than this one. This one feels like just like a soft plastic, whereas this one just actually feels like rubber. So a little bit more rugged. I mean, it's not like a downside or anything. Like I probably can get used to it, but I really wish that they went with a softer rubber. Now comparing the FK to the AM-FG, they're pretty similar in certain aspects. They use the same sensor. The layout is pretty similar as well. So the AM-FG doesn't have tapered sides here. So if you see here, nothing's tapered. It's more of an IntelliMouse design, whereas the FK is more similar to a Sensei. So if you're looking for a mouse that has tapered ends here, so you can lift it up easier, I would say the FK might be a little bit better choice for you. Otherwise, if you're palm gripping, I feel like the FK is a lot more solid because it fits in the hand a little bit better, whereas this one feels narrow at times. And I was gaming on the FK the other night and I was kind of feeling fatigue in my pinky and my thumb just from gripping the mouse because it's quite narrow. So that's what I did notice. I mean, if you have small hands, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be a big deal. But for me, I have pretty large hands, so I was noticing some fatigue. Now with the AM, I didn't notice any fatigue. It wasn't that narrow. It wasn't easy to pick up. The button layout on both the AM and the FK are going to be pretty much identical. The only difference is going to be the positioning of the side buttons, which are pretty darn close anyway. The scroll wheel aesthetic design is the same. They look exactly identical, but they feel different. So if you listen to that, this one sounds a lot softer and it feels soft too. This one, it's a lot more tactile and it has a more noticeable bump. So if you want something that's really tactile, then I would go with the FK. If you want something a little bit more soft and easy to scroll with, I would say the AM is a good choice. Now another difference is, on the FK there's grooved indents on mouse 1 and 2, whereas the FG is just a normal design. It doesn't have any ergonomic grooves or anything like that. Now that can be a plus or it can be a downside, depending on where you position your fingers normally. So if you don't normally position your fingers where the grooves are, that's going to feel a little bit awkward. Whereas the AM, you can position it anywhere and it'll feel perfectly fine. Now, they use different switches. The FK uses the Huana switches, which some people don't like, but I think they're perfectly fine. I was noticing some cases where that my finger was getting a little bit tired from clicking. I don't know why that was. It might be the indent groove or the switch. I'm not sure yet. And that's something I didn't notice with the AM. To summarize the AM and the FK, if you're looking for something more like a Sensei, I would say go with the FK. Now if you are using a claw grip or palm grip, I would say go with the FK just because the shape is going to be easier to pick up and stuff like that, or if you're doing the swipe grip or anything like that. So if you're primarily palm gripping, I would say the AM is also a very good choice. Just because, like I said, it's not gonna fatigue you as much as the FK did, at least in my opinion. And some people don't like these grooves, so that might be a plus to you, especially if you're palm gripping, like I said. The optical sensor is the same, so you're not going to notice a difference in performance. It's just pretty much about what you like about the mouse and what features you want to see, or how ergonomic it is for your situation. Sorry if that didn't make sense, but yeah. Okay, so now comparing the Zowie mice to the SteelSeries Sensei. One thing I really like about the Sensei is the customization of the mouse. So basically you can download the drivers and you can pretty much customize anything about it. You can customize the CPI, the polling rates, you can remap the mouse buttons, you can have a CPI toggle, you can adjust LEDs, you can load custom bitmap images onto a LCD screen. So basically you just have so many options of customization. That's what really is a big bonus for the SteelSeries. The only thing that's bringing it down is the sensor. It has a laser sensor. I don't remember off the top of my head what sensor it uses exactly, but it has some sort of prediction and acceleration is what I do not like. It causes inconsistency in tracking. So if you're playing a FPS game or any game with precision tracking, this wouldn't be as good as, let's say, the Zowie FK or the AM. So that's one downside. And just another thing to note, that the Sensei is also a little bit wider than the AM and the FK. I don't know why. I guess Zowie wanted a more narrow mouse. It's a little weird. From now going from like the Zowie to like the Sensei feels pretty big. And also, I feel like the mouse 1 and 2 buttons on the Zowie mice are a bit more responsive than the ones on the Sensei. I didn't notice that before, but now just clicking, I like the Zowie mouse 1 and 2 buttons better. And I definitely like the scrolls on the Zowies better too. Not by much, just my preference. Like the FK feels really rugged and tactile, like I know when I'm going to be scrolling, and if I'm switching weapons in game with my scroll, then I know I'm not going to mess up the scroll wheel and it's not going to like fling out to a different weapon or to whatever. So it's very precise. Comparing the bottom of the mice, they look pretty similar. They have a similar feet design, so pretty much 2 large rubber feet on the FK and the AM, which are identical, and then the Sensei has pretty much similar like arc design on the top of the mouse, and then they have 2 down here. One thing I noticed about the Zowie, the included feet, they're not very tall. I was noticing some drag on the plastic around the feet just because it isn't that tall, so I'm noticing a little bit of drag. So on the FK, I installed the added mouse feet that came with it just to give it an extra millimeter or 2 of liftoff, just to eliminate the drag a little bit. And it definitely increased the glide. And it just felt a lot smoother when I was browsing the web and I was actually gaming. It actually felt a lot better too. Like I got quicker and more accurate responses when I added the feet on. So that was one thing I was kind of disappointed about, that the first set of mouse feet that was on the mouse itself isn't very tall, whereas the Sensei, they make sure that it's the right amount, not too low and not too high. So now moving on to the cords, they all use different cords. So the Sensei has a braided cable, the AM has a plastic cable, and the FK has a plastic cable. But the difference between the FK and the AM is that I feel as though the FK has a little bit of a softer cable, whereas the AM has a more not flexible, well, it is flexible, but it's a little bit more stiff, and it doesn't want to really conform as much as the FK did. Now, just to conclude on the cables, that they do all feature the gold plating on the USB connector, so it's going to reduce erosion and it's going to increase your response time. So it's really nice that the mouse manufacturers are getting on this gold plated hype, I guess. And just to note, guys, that the AM does come in different colors too. It does come in a full rubber finish like the FK does, and it does come in the AM-GS, which is glossy sides. But currently I have the FG, which is a full gloss, and it's a white color. And the Sensei over here does come in two raw versions, a standard raw, which is all black, and a frost blue edition, which just came out not too long ago. I think it looks sick. It has a white body with a blue SteelSeries logo. So the only reason why I would suggest the Sensei is if you want that full control like over the mouse in terms of customization. Like if you want a specific DPI and you can't like adjust the in-game sensitivity, like let's say if you're using 400 DPI on a Sensei and you have to use 450 on the Zowie. I understand that certain games can't adjust certain in-game sensitivity, so it might take a little while to get used to an extra 50 DPI or CPI. I understand that, so you might want to go with the Sensei just because you can get that 400 CPI or whatever CPI you use. So that is the only reason why I would suggest a Sensei over the Zowie FK or the AM, is if you want to customize that DPI or CPI. But otherwise, I found that the 3 presets on the Zowie mice are going to do it for me, because I was actually using 400 and I moved up to 450. I'm still getting used to it a little bit. My aim wasn't as accurate as it used to be before, but I'm pretty sure I can get used to it. And all I had to do was just adjust the in-game sensitivities and it was all good. If you're in the market for a mouse currently and you're looking for a mouse that will give you the best tracking, I would say go with the Zowie. And if you're looking for something that is more customizable, I would say go with the Sensei. All 3 are great mice. It's a really tough decision, but personally, since I like the shape of the FK a little bit better than all of them, I'm going to probably use the FK primarily and switch off between the FK and the AM. I'm probably going to end up giving my Sensei away. Who knows? But yeah. And this will conclude the 3 mouse comparison. I hope you guys found this video informative or entertaining or anything like that. I would really appreciate it if you would give this a thumbs up if this was helpful. And subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thanks guys for watching, and see you guys next time.